So good morning and welcome to Shakti Flow. Let's take a comfortable seat, closing the eyes. Allowing yourself to move just a little bit to find that sweet spot that you know so well. And then finding a moment of stillness, breathing into the stillness. Seems like such a simple thing that we do each and every time we come on the mat, but it can be quite powerful for us to have this internal awareness, not so distracted by what's going on around us, so that we can use that information intelligently as we practice. This week I've been talking a lot about a Sanskrit word, sattva, which basically means balance or harmony. And sattva is a quality of the mind. What is it that we can create to bring some harmony and balance to the state of the mind? And it's believed by the yogis that the state of the mind creates the state of the body, not the other way around. So as we practice today, let's think about the sattva of the mind, but also sattva of the body, even when we're doing something that's challenging. Is there harmony? Is there balance? Let's bring the hands together at the heart, holding in the intention of what you need on your mat this morning. May the class be exactly what you need. Take a nice deep breath. And as you exhale, hands are releasing, eyes flutter open, and we come back to the mat. All right, so if you were with me before I left, I started on the floor. I did a practice starting on the floor, and then we stood up and did some repetitive kind of movements. So I want to do that again today. I found that to be really powerful as far as not only how our body moves, but the understanding of how our body moves. So we're going to come to sitting, and we're going to put our body in what we call a zigzag shape. And what I'd like you to do is you can face me. I'm going to turn my body just a little bit so you can see what I'm going to do. So zigzag is with one foot in front and one foot in back. And depending on your hips, you might have to have them closer or wider, okay? So I'm just going to turn towards you a little bit. I want you to lean on whatever leg you're on. It doesn't matter what side. And I want you to be facing this front knee. All right, so you're not in the middle. Hands on each side of the front knee, fingertips lightly. I want you to take a nice deep breath. And as you exhale, start to float forward over that front thigh. And then inhale, lifting up, using your fingers lightly to help you. Exhaling as you lower down, nice and slow. So this is what we call targeted floss or targeted stretch release, targeted fascia work around the buttocks of the leg that you're leaning on. Alrighty? Now, I want you to stop at the top for a minute, and I want you to try to do it without your hands. So put your hands on your chest and see if you can keep going. Now, if it's impossible, and right away you go, oh my God, I can't do that. Put your fingers back down on the floor and keep going. But what I want you to try to do is use your muscles to create this action now, which is a lot harder, but it'll wake things up for when we're standing. And we'll do one more. If you're getting a cramp in your back hip, you might have your back leg too far back. And then release that. All right, bring this back leg around, swing yourself over, do-si-do to the other side. Yeah, I'm pretty tight on this side today. I don't know, maybe I slept funny. This back leg, if you've got it kind of stretched out behind you, your foot can be away from you, but your foot can also be tucked in too. I really want to focus more on this front thigh. All righty, so I'm going to take my legs a little bit like I had them before. Fingertips on each side. And you're going to start to lean over this front knee now. So you should be on the other side, inhaling and coming up. And every time you come up with the inhale, you might want to think about getting longer, taller, longer, lengthening, exhaling, belly button to spine, and up. So this way doing this movement pattern should feel actually kind of good, like a stretch with your fingers on the floor. All right, we got one more, and then we're going to try and take the hands off the body or off the floor and put them on your body, and then keep going. And so we did 5 with fingers, and we're trying to do 5 without. Oh, goodness gracious. This side feels really hard compared to the other side. And 3. And up. And push. So it helps to push down into the leg you're leaning over on as you're coming up. All right, that's 5. Release your hands. Bring yourself up to tabletop. And let's just do an easy cat and cow, inhaling and exhaling. Letting your body get the message that's all okay. We're not going to do that again just yet. But that action, a similar action, is going to come into play when we stand up. Okay, one more. And now find a neutral position. Shoulders are dropping into the back body. Without moving your arms, let your chest drop in. And then push with your arms so that your shoulder blades come apart. You can even expand your back body a little bit. And then drop in. Nice and slow. Don't do this fast. Especially the drop in part. And lower, slow. We're working a little bit in the shoulder girdle now, just waking it up. And try not to worry about holding your spine really still. You might notice when you push up, there's a little bit of rounding in your upper back. Let that happen. Head stays in neutral. It's not really cat and cow. One more time. Good. And then find a neutral territory, somewhere that your shoulders feel happy. Turn your toes under, lift your knees, and go back into your first easy downward facing dog. So let that be an easy dog. Don't make it real hard. Most people like to bend their knees. Pedaling their feet. And then from here, can you bend your knees a lot, allowing your knees to float towards the floor, but push with your arms to keep your hips back. And then unfurl, straight legs. Try it again, bend the knees. So you're not coming forward, you're keeping your upper body in about the same place. And push, one more time. Bend the knees, almost to the floor, hips are back. And extend, good. Take a little walk to the front of the mat. Nice and slow, get your feet underneath you. Let go of your head and shoulders. You can even let go of your hands. Maybe rotate your wrists a little bit. Soft knees, please, initially. And then I want you to think about your legs and your body being connected. So we're going to take the arms around the back of the legs. And I'm going to ask you to hold on to whatever you can. Like I can hold my forearms pretty close to my elbows. I want your body and your legs together. And then you're just going to sit down wherever you can. Your hips are down, but your spine is probably parallel to the floor. And then straighten your legs up so that your head is now down. And then bend your knees. And straighten. And bend. and straighten. Now, wherever the straighten is, stay there. Take the arms away and bring them back to the wall behind you like you're trying to touch the wall. Lift your chest up so it's parallel to the floor. Notice where your legs are because that's important for you for later. And then as you inhale, can you take your arms forward, keep your legs as they are, and reach your arms out in front of you. Push through your feet, keep your arms by your ears, and stand. Exhale, elbows into your back pockets. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, elbows in your back pockets. And reach up. And do one more, elbows in your back pockets. This time, elbows down, and then release your arms down so your palms are facing forward and you're standing in Tadasana. Good. All right. Shake everything out. So I want to repeat what we just did as closely as we can to standing. So I'm going to ask you to pick up 2 weights, 1 in each hand. The movement pattern, so you know, is going to stay close to the body. So I'm going to ask you to go forward, come up, and then squeeze shoulders. So I'm not going to do any long arms. So if you want to pick up a heavier weight, go ahead. I've already been practicing this, so I'm going to pick up my heaviest weight, which is an 8-pound. And I want you to come to warrior 1 stance. So knee over ankle, back leg turned in slightly, facing the front. Bring your hands to your chest. So the first movement is to lean forward, just like we were doing before. And if you feel ready, you can take your hands to the floor. Bring them back up to your chest and stand. From here, squeeze the shoulder blades together. My hands are really close to my body. Come back to center. Bend forward. Lower the weights. Pick them back up. Stand and squeeze. Now see if you can make it more fluid. Lower and bend, up and stand, squeeze. In. So right away, getting the heavier weight in your hands helps to strengthen your hands. We talk a lot about hand grip and why it's important. And hand grip, not meaning you're squeezing those little hands, you know, those hand gripper things, but that you can hold things that are heavy, like suitcases and grocery bags and heavy weights. And pull. Good. One more time. Down and up and pull. Good. Now bring your weights to your chest. Turn so you're forward. And your feet are going to be a little bit open. Bend your knees a little bit. And what you're going to do, let me turn so you can see, is I want you to take your hands open and back slightly. And in. Now you can bend slightly forward. It'll help your action. But I don't want you to be all the way down. So it's a kind of a mini squat, if you will. And bringing the weights to your chest and then down and slightly away from the body. So a small little V kind of action. Shoulders are on your back. And in. And press away. How many times do you pick up your weights and you pick up the super light ones? And then you do all that work and you go, oh, that felt good. Did it make you tired? If it didn't make you tired, it probably wasn't strong enough. And last one. Good. Come all the way to standing. And then adjust your feet so we'll go the other way. Warrior on this side. Front knee over front ankle. The back foot can be wider if you feel unsteady. Hold your weights at your chest. Go slow on this side. It's a new side. So lower down. Bring your weights toward the floor on the inside of your foot. Bring it back up, stand, and then squeeze your shoulder blades together. Chest, down, chest, squeeze. So try not to overly grip the weights super tight so that you get like white knuckles, but you are holding them. Squeeze, down, up. Nice. So nice and slow, very controlled movement. And up, squeeze, in. So can you see how when you move over and down this front leg, you're working that same outer hip and leg that you were working when you were on the floor? Good. Hold here. Let's turn the feet again to parallel. Soften knees and hinge slightly forward. From your hands at your chest, push a little bit open and away and come back to your chest. Shoulders are down your back. You don't feel any tension in your neck. If you do, your weights might be too much. And you're going slow. We're working on chest, not chest. We're working on back and right now triceps. And hinge back, slow control hinge forward. Try not to drop your head. I'm not really in a very deep forward motion. It's just a little bit. Let's do 2 more. Breathing, expanding. Maybe find your pelvic floor and your core. Reach. Good. And then when you got final one, come to standing, bring your feet together. Let's put the weights down. Come to the top of your mat. And we'll do a little yoga flow here to get away from all of that. So hands at your heart. Inhale, take the arms up and open. Exhale, elbows in your back pockets. Inhale, up and open. Hands back together, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, fold forward, release your head. Do that once more. Inhale, come halfway up, looking forward and down on the floor, not up at the wall. Release your head. Step back with your right leg and let your right knee land on the floor. Left hand on your left thigh, you're going to reach up. Easy movement pattern here. Release and come down. We're going to do 2 more like that. So push with your left hand, reach up and slightly back with your right hand. And just ask. You're just asking. Big reach. Now on this third one, take your other arm up. And you're welcome to interlace your fingers or keep your arms apart. Think about pinky fingers lifting up, eyes lifting up, hips slightly forward. Don't overwork that. Exhale, hands down. Pick up your back knee, left hand on your left thigh, twist open and find your twisted lunge. So right hand can be on the floor, right hand can be on a block. Trying to pull the belly in on the exhale, rotate torso, hands down, stepping forward. Inhale, come halfway up, lengthen. Exhale all the way down, left foot steps back. Knee down on the floor. Right hand on your right thigh. Lifting left arm up. Pushing, lifting, reaching. And then down. 2 more. Just nice and smooth. Bringing your body back to that sattva state, that homeostasis. Right? Last time here. And then take the other arm up. Find that nice action that you want in your shoulders, reaching with your pinky fingers. Maybe the hips drift a little forward, don't overdo it. Big inhale here. Exhale, hands to the floor. Big lift off your back knee. Right hand on your right thigh, twist open to the right. Right hand comes to the sky. So again, your hand, I don't like flat down because it's too low for me. So I either have to be on my knuckles or on my fingers. My legs are just a little too long. Exhale, hand down. Now listen, this time, can you step back into plank pose? Plank pose. Now remember when we were in tabletop and I asked you to soften your shoulders? Can you do that now? Can you bring your shoulders so they're coming together and then push with your arms and pull them apart? And see if you can puff up the back of your heart. Down. This is much harder in plank. Push up, puff, down, and push up and puff. Good. Bend your knees a little. Go back to downward facing dog. Little pedal of the heels. Finding that sweet spot that really helps you slow down, get centered. And your next inhale, come forward into that plank again and drop your knees to the floor. We're going to take your body all the way down. So elbows graze the body, land on your belly, walk your feet backwards so that you're not kind of jammed up in your pelvis. Let your feet be flat. Fingertips are going to come to the floor just off your mat. And I want your elbows up. Notice if your shoulders come up by your ears, try to drop them away. And on your inhale, you're going to get longer. Exhale, pull the belly button in. Lift your fingers and your toes off the floor. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, belly button up. And float. Inhale down. And notice I'm not bending my knees and I'm not worrying about going high. I want to think about my shoulder blades squeezing together as I come up. Just like we were doing with those weights in our hands. And you're exhaling when you come up to give your power to the core, right? Not to the spine itself. 2 more. And down. And 1 more. Exhaling as you come up. And then hands go right next to your side body, shoulders on your back, push yourself up, and go back to a wide knee child's pose and rest for a moment. Taking that moment for a breather, coming back to your sattvic state, that idea of balance and harmony, even when we're working fairly hard. Okay, so can you come up to tabletop? Transitioning here, I want you to turn your toes under, set your hips back on your heels, walk your fingertips back so you're near your knees, and push off of your knees. See if you can stay here. Not everybody's knees will do this. If your feet are touching, bring your knees to touch, and see, just for funsies, can you balance? Whoop. So tippy toe pose, legs together, feet squeeze, legs squeeze, finding balance here. You may or may not want to try this next move. Fingertips on the floor, straighten your legs, or see if you can stand from there. Take a breath here, and then exhale, hands down. Could you stand from tippy toe pose? Not always the easiest. All right, so now we're going to do another little series. Squats using overhead motion. So again, the arms aren't going to be away from you. They're going to be close, but we are going to go overhead. So you got to decide, do I want the heavy weights again? Do I want to make it lighter? I don't want anybody to impinge their shoulders. So we're taking the feet a comfortable distance apart. I'm not getting really rigid about close together or wide apart. Bring your weights to your shoulders. Elbows are going to be out in front of you. So the thing I don't want you to do is go like this. I want you to sit your hips back and down and see if you can drive your elbows close to your knees. Now remember, I have a really short waist, so this is easy for me to do. I don't want you to be in this position. So here, stand, push overhead. Lower, sit back wherever you can. If you can get down here, go ahead. Push, overhead. Down, sit, push, overhead. This is kind of our first strong leg exercise. And so if the overhead movement feels less available to you, you can do one arm at a time. I don't want you to lighten your weight up so much that the legs don't get all the work, okay? Push, lower, slow controlled movements here. Trying not to go with momentum. Now I'm going to ask you to change your hand position. So come to standing. See if you can turn your hands forward. Your hands are still close to your shoulders. And we're going to push up one at a time here. So push one up and down. Palms are facing forward now. Push the other arm up. What does it feel like in your shoulders? Can you do that? And if it feels okay, you can do 2 at a time. If you're getting really tired, stay with 1 at a time. I got a little adventurous today and I picked up my heaviest weight, so I'm doing 1 at a time. Up and down, soft knees. If you're standing with me, tailbone down, core body's engaged. Last time each arm. All right, release your arms down for a minute. So let your shoulders rest. We've got another little series to do. I want you to turn your palms forward and slightly open. You can use your heavy weights for this one. Keep your elbows into your body and start to curl your hands to your shoulders. Notice how my arms are slightly turned open. This external rotation in the shoulder. But you want to keep your upper arms and your elbows tucked in. You don't want your elbows to get behind you. And I want you to think about your knuckles coming to your shoulders, your knuckles coming to your shoulders to keep your long wrist. And we're letting the legs rest here for a minute until we move on to the next series. So this is called active rest, where we're working a smaller muscle group, not taking so much demand. Curl. And I'm working this up to 12 or so reps. If you can do this easily, you might rethink how heavy your weight is for this particular exercise. And I know it's hard because we have to transition from different weights, but in order to build that muscle, we have to do something like that. Okay, now we're gonna move overhead again. So hands go to neutral, lighten the weights if you need to. I'm gonna walk my feet just a little wider. I wanna have this freedom. We're gonna rotate from one side to the other. We did this a couple weeks ago. So sit in that squat. Your left hand, push up and turn to the right. My back left heel came off the floor. Come back down and sit. Right arm, push up and twist. Come down and sit. Up and twist. Down and sit. So you want to feel pretty comfortable in this action. Back heel comes off the floor to rotate from the ankle all the way up through the shoulder and arm. You don't want to keep your foot on the floor. That's going to tweak your knee. Down. Looks good, you guys. Down. Trying to get into that deeper squat. Let the weights at your shoulders help you. Last time, other side. And push. Good. Release your arms. Roll the shoulders a little bit. Bring your feet more into neutral. So take your right foot back on the ball of your foot. I call this the squat lunge. It's not really a lunge. It's not really a squat. It's kind of in the middle. And I'm going to let you decide here on your weights. I'm going to take both weights. Actually, I'm going to take both next weights down in one hand. So if you took your right foot back, it's in your right hand. I want this to be hard on purpose. So let your arm release down. Shoulders are open, chest is open, belly's engaged. Keep your palms facing forward. You're going to bend down like you're putting this on the floor. And then you're going to come up and pull it to your shoulder. Bend down and push. Now use your front foot for the power to come back up. Front foot, push down and down to the floor. So we're working hard on purpose in this one. Lower down, push up. Very similar to what we were doing earlier. Good, last time. All right, take your weights to your chest, lean forward and pick up your back leg. Now for funsies, keep your hands where they are, just soften your front knee and bend your back knee. So you're in this, I like to call this the funky warrior, and maybe you can feel like you could tip a little. Don't overdo that. Take a breath here, and then land. All right, take the other leg back. Double your weights on the left arm or the other arm. So again, I'm not all the way back in that lunge position, but I'm not in a squat either. I'm kind of in the middle. Palm faces forward, shoulder on your back. Belly is engaged. And then we try this side. So lower down. And then as you come up, bring that weight to your shoulder. Lower down. And you want to have strong enough weight, heavy enough weight, so that when you get to your 8 or 10 reps or so, you're like, geez, I'm glad that's over. Push into your front foot to come up. It's the front leg doing the work. And this is a one-legged squat, if you could see it that way. Down slow, up, controlled. Got one more. Down slow and up. Good. Now weights come to your chest, part of your body. Lean forward, lift off that back leg. And then again, just for fun, soften your front knee and bend your back leg. You may be able to tip more. Don't worry about it. One more breath here. And then stick your foot down. Stand. Good. Weights down. You can hear I'm breathing a little bit. Let's come to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, elbows in your back pockets. Inhale, reach up. Hands together, float forward and down. Inhale, come halfway up, lengthening the back of the body. Exhale, release your head. Once more, inhale and exhale. And then step back into your plank pose. Finding your plank pose again. All right, with your plank pose, I want you to take your feet wider and drop your heels to the right so you're in that twisted sister kind of position. And you can stay here, or you can lift up your left hand so you're in side Vasisthasana. Lower the left hand and lift your heels. Come back to center. Allow the heels to go to the left. Root down into your left hand. If you take up your right, this is a one-arm balance. Not the easiest thing in the world, so take care. Hands to the floor. Downward facing dog. Take a moment. All right, take a nice deep breath. And then go ahead and lower your knees. Widen them a little bit and rest back into child's pose. Again, giving yourself a moment in between these little vignettes, if you will. And if you're noticing your breathing, this is probably the first hard workout that I've done since I've been home. You guys might not know I had COVID again. So I'm noticing my ability to take in oxygen. My mitochondria is a little affected, I think. And so you got to let your body come back to homeostasis. That's that balance. That's that sattva. And so if you're breathing heavy and you can't hardly keep up with yourself, you have to give yourself this moment. Otherwise, the body just feels stress all the time. And it will never really get stronger, even if you're working really hard. It just won't do it. All righty. Feel a little bit more balanced. Come back to center. Tabletop. Now your normal tabletop, I want you to imagine your elbows are going to go where your hands are. So take your elbows to the floor. Your hands will be out in front of you. I want you to keep your elbows and your shoulders lined up. If this action feels hard, move your hips back. If it feels easy, move your hips forward. We're going to push into the hands and straighten the arms and lower back down nice and slow. Push. So we're focusing on the triceps here. Shoulders are on your back body. Again, it's a smaller muscle group to recover with. And if it feels too hard, you can't quite get there, move your hands a little bit back. Shift your hips back a little so that you're not so weighted on your arms. Remember, your elbows point to the floor the entire time. They don't swing out to the walls. And you should feel this in your shoulders and in the backs of your arms. One more. All right. Now come all the way up and take your hands to the corners. And we're gonna do the same thing, but now your arms are on an angle. Drop your shoulders down your back, pull the belly up, and then lower. And push. And lower. So now we're in a different angle. You're gonna feel this a little differently. Again, if you're feeling tired, hands come back closer. You're more weighted in your back body. It feels easy, hands are forward. Weight is more forward. If you were supersonic, you would be in a full plank here doing this. Not for me today. And 2 more, down and up. And last time, down and up. Now bring your hands more in line. Bring your elbows back to the floor. You can interlace your fingers if you like to do it that way. I'm going to keep my hands down. Take one leg back and the other for plank. Drop your chest between your shoulders. Push and open the back of your heart. Lower down. If this feels hard, put your knees down on the floor. Push and lift. 2 more, down. See if you can glide and then push away. Why am I doing this action? It's a really important muscle group that helps the shoulders stay on the back of the body. All right, lower the hips. Release the toes. Come up into Sphinx or seal, meaning hands are at the corners and you're up, or your elbows are on the floor and you're lower, to counteract all of the action you just did. Take another breath here. Nice. Inhale, exhale. And then release. All right, let me see what time it is. Push yourself up and away. Coming up to a standing or kneeling position. Lifting your knees off the floor. Unfurl your legs. And then from here, inhale, come halfway up. Lengthen the spine. Stay there. Taking the arms out to the side like bird wings. Can you feel your shoulder blades on your back? Push through your legs to come all the way to standing, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. And palms forward. All right, we're going to do one more little bit. This is one of my fun ones that I like to do. I want you to take your blocks. And we're going to put the blocks out in front of us. And we're going to be in tabletop with our feet and hands versus our hands and knees, okay? So you're going to look more like this. Now, if you're like me and you have long legs and you end up being rounded with your blocks, soften your knees so that your spine's long. I care less about your legs being straight and more about your spine being long. Now bring your feet all the way to touch. And you're going to lift your right leg up behind you. As you exhale, pull the knee to your chest, round your back like you're doing cat pose, and you might be able to come up on the ball of your left foot. Push back, straighten out, and lift. Exhale, pull in. Now lifting your left heel is optional. If that puts too much pressure on your knee, please don't do it. Lift. Always exhale on the pull in. Now, can you turn your leg up so your ankle's to the ceiling and pull your knee in? Turn your ankle up, pull your knee in. 2 more like that. Up and in. Last one's going to stay. So your ankle's to the sky, your left leg's nice and strong. Can you come up on your right fingers? Can you bring your right hand to your chest? Little trick is if you turn your left heel outward toward the outer side of your mat, you're going to have more stability. Turn your chest right, maybe right hand to the sky. You can look down as I am, or if you've got good balance, you can look to the right. Keep lifting the ankle. Nice big inhale. Hand to the block. Foot to the floor. Line up your feet. Bend your knees, look ahead, and come to standing. Just for a moment, come out of that posture. So we just went into half moon after we did a bunch of exercise. So if it felt hard, that was why your legs were getting tired. So let's go down to the other side. Hands are on the blocks. Soft knees to expand the spine. And then take the left leg back And as you exhale, curl the knee to your chest, round your back, and maybe you can come off of your right heel. Push away and pull in. Push away. And why do I want to come off my right heel? Because I can actually get more range if I do it that way. And I'm working my quadricep a little bit more on the right. Now take the leg up and turn it sideways, ankle to the sky, and then bring the knee in. Ankle to the sky, knee in. 2 more. Ankle to the sky, knee in, and then ankle to the sky, stay. And then see if you can come up on your left fingers. Now this, you don't have to. If you look down at your right foot and it's straight, turn your right heel slightly outward. So you look pigeon-toed. Take your hand to your heart if you've got that balance. Maybe chest turns open. Maybe hands come to the sky. Put more stability in your leg than in your hand on the block. Take one more breath. Hand to the block. Foot to the other one. Bend the knees. Stand. Okay, let's get the blocks out of the way. Come to the top of your mat. Inhale, open up, big reach. Exhale, elbows in your back pockets. Inhale, hands together, float forward and down. Come halfway up as you inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, release your head. Come to downward facing dog here. Downward facing dog can be your child's pose. Notice how you feel in this downward facing dog. And then as you feel ready, knees are coming down to the floor. And we're going to transition here and come back to that seated position we did in the beginning. All right, we're going to use the weights one more time on the floor, so don't get them too far away from you. And we're going to come to the zigzag again. We did this in the very beginning. And I want you to play with how this feels now compared to how we did it in the beginning. So I'm leaning on my left leg, you might be leaning on your right, doesn't matter. This other leg is wherever you want it to be. Tighter in, you've got a little bit more freedom. Further out, you're asking a little bit more of this back hip. So I'm kind of in the middle. Hands on your heart, turn towards your knee, lower down, and push away. And then ask yourself, is this easier? Do I feel like I can control this better? Okay, one more time. Now, keeping your hands off the floor, swing your legs around and go the other way. So now I'm leaning on this other leg, and I'm down, and I'm up. And down, and up. And I can tell you, from all the sitting and being sick and all the things, my hips are tight, tight, tight. And down, and up. Now, keep your hands off the floor and just swing your legs from side to side. Go from one side over to the other side. And just keep going back and forth, working on strength of the core, mobility of the hips, our ability to move around. And if you want to add a little something, you lower down. Lift yourself up. Lower down. A couple more. Just playing here. Letting your body come back to homeostasis. Last one. And rest. Ah. All right, so we're going to lie down on our backs. We've got one more little exercise to do. You are going to use your weights. I'm focusing a lot today on triceps and back body. Triceps being the back of your arm. So if you feel those muscles tomorrow, that's why. Make sure to eat your protein. I haven't eaten yet this morning, so I'm going to need to make a shake or something. And if you have blocks and you want to, you don't have to do this. You can put a block between your upper thighs to engage the pelvic floor and the lower belly and the adductors, excuse me, inner thighs. So feet are underneath your ankles. Arms are by your side. You could put your weights to touch right at your chest. I'm going to try it that way, see how I like it. So arms first, push straight up, bend the elbows so that they're just over the top of your head, push up, and then lower down. So if your arms were apart, you'd be working independently with your arms, which that's a nice way to work too. I'm going to put mine together just for today. Now, as I push my arms up, push your hips up, hold them there while you bend the knee, elbows and straighten, and then lower hips and lower weights. Push. And if you feel like you want higher lift of your hips, you can come up on the balls of your feet, because I can come up a little higher. And it helps when you do that, it actually helps to work the feet. And a lot of people don't realize that we spend so much time in shoes that our feet don't get the exercise that it needs. And then our knees start to hurt and our hips start to hurt. Everything starts to hurt because our feet aren't doing what they are supposed to be doing. And we're just working here to the max. Triceps, glutes, hamstrings, spinal muscles along the spine. One more. Push. And I hope you picked up a heavy enough weight where you feel like, God, I'm glad that's over. And rest. Take your weights down. Take the block away. Let your feet come apart and swish your knees side to side. And letting your body feel that relax, that ease. All righty, and then come to center. I want you to cross your right ankle over your left knee. And this is very similar to what we've been doing most of the class. But I want you, before you pick up your left foot, I want you to push your ankle into your left knee. So I want you to activate this outer leg. From there, pick your left foot up, keep pushing the leg and see where you can go. You might not have the same range as you normally do. And keep thinking about pressing this right ankle into the left knee as you bring the left knee towards you. And then you're going to find this kind of new awareness about what your hip socket can actually do. So I'm not expecting you to like work at 100% here. It's just enough so you can feel you're doing it, and the muscle you're working is all the way the outer band of the leg up into the buttocks. Take one more breath here. And then release it. Now, before we switch, take your right hand and grab either your right ankle or your right big toe, and take the leg out to the side so that you're in Padangusthasana 2. You could always hold the back of your knee also if you have a harder time with this one. And I'm trying to keep my left hip down. My left knee is still bent. I could put my left leg down so that we're getting the full expression of this pose. And then release it and come to center. Bend both knees. Left ankle over right knee. Press the leg into your knee, feel the activation of the outer hip, and then bring the leg towards you. So this is that idea of flossing again, where we're actually stretching the muscle and the connective tissue while we're activating it. And right now we're just holding this stretch, holding this activation here. Trying not to forget about pressing your left ankle into the right knee. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then right foot lands on the floor. Grab a hold of your left ankle or your left big toe or the back of your knee and stretch the left leg out towards the side. Again, you can keep your knee bent or you can stretch the leg down. Oh, and I have the wall, lucky me. If you've got a wall like I do, push your heel or your foot into the wall, make it a little bit more active. Not really a big advocate of hanging in poses for just the sake of doing that. One more breath. And then release the leg down onto the floor. Let's bend both knees and bring the feet together. Let the knees fall apart. Grab a hold of your elbows and bring your arms up over your head like you're framing your head. Breathing into any and all areas that you notice. It could be your groin, it could be your armpits, it could be your lower back. Send the awareness and the breath and the prana to those areas. Letting go of any doing, any expectation. Can you be in sattva? Can you be in harmony and balance? Allow the arms to release, bringing the legs back together, and then just reverse it so the knees touch and the feet come apart. Hands on body, breathing into the hands. Becoming aware of the efforting and the class, but also the ease when you're done. And so if you feel exhausted, it was too hard, give yourself extra time to rest and really nourish yourself. If you feel pretty energized, but a little tired, you're probably at about the right place. If you feel like, oh, I could get up and go for a 10-mile walk, you didn't work hard enough. And so we each and every one of us, each and every day have a different set point or a different level that we need to work at. It's our job to find it and be true to that sattvic state. Go ahead and bring your knees towards your chest. Give them a little hug. Gently rock side to side. If you feel like you want to, you can bring your head up and curl into a little ball. And then hands go down, feet go down, and we find Shavasana here. Remember that you're always welcome to put stuff underneath your legs or under your head. I like to put something across my pelvis to help me feel grounded. I'm not going to cover myself up. It's too hot here. And then once you find stillness, start to soften into that stillness. Breathe into that stillness, into that state, that quality of the mind called sattva. Take a nice deep breath. And slowly starting to stretch and move, bringing yourself back. And as you feel ready, you can bend your knees, roll to a side. Just pause there for a moment or two before coming up to sitting. Once you're seated, hands can come to your heart center. Gratitude for our time together on the mat. In this practice we call yoga. Our deep body wisdom and guiding light. May our light always shine brightly, and may we always see the light in each other. Namaste.